Michael Boyle's StrengthCoach.com presents the Strength Coach Podcast, brought to you by Perform Better, the experts in functional training and rehabilitation. PerformBetter.com.
All right, hey everybody, welcome to special episode 358.5 of the Strength Coach Podcast, brought to you by Perform Better, the experts in functional training and rehabilitation, and in my mind, continuing education. That's why we're doing this today. I have on Chris Parter, head honcho over at PB, to talk all about the upcoming 4 summits, because last year they could only do 3, and now we're back. 4 summits: Orlando, Long Beach, Chicago, and Providence. I will be in Long Beach, so I'm so excited. Chris, thanks for doing this.
Anthony, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I really just wanted to, I've been thinking about it for a while, and we got to kind of get back on, because I talk about it every episode. I always tell everybody about the schedule and everything, but we haven't really had you guys on to really talk about what is going on, if there's any changes and any of the new people, because I know you got a lot of new people out on here. So just wanted to go over, give people an idea of what's happening with the Perform Better Summits. And I'll remind everybody, one of the coolest things about this is that it's a combination of lectures and hands-on learning. So you don't just get a lecture, or you don't just get hands-on. You could do both, or you could just do one. So it's very cool. And every hour you have a choice of 2 lectures and 2 hands-on sessions. And that's basically not every hour, every 90 minutes. And altogether, there's 30 presentations available. And I think that's why this is so popular, is that you can go all great towns that they're in Orlando, Long Beach, Chicago, and Providence, and great towns. And you can go there and basically kill a lot of birds with one stone, especially this year with the NSCA. It is a CEU year. So there's always CEUs from NSCA, NASM, ACE, and CSCC with the A. I guess I forget what that is. But anyway, Chris, we're kicking this whole thing off in Orlando coming up. We're actually, when this comes out, we're going to miss the early bird special. Every summit has an early bird special, but it's not too late. You don't want to sign up at the door. You want to get in beforehand, because you can still save 30 clams if you do that. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about the upcoming summits.
First of all, Anthony, we are going to extend the early bird to the 12th. So it will be out for this for Orlando. So
nice.
If you are interested in coming to Orlando, which Orlando, as you said, all great towns, all great party towns, all with great restaurants around them. That's obviously, it's one of the big things with the summits, is making sure that people have plenty of things to do outside where the education is going on. But obviously the most important is the education. And that's what we always pride ourselves on, is having great presenters. And this year is going to be no change to that. We have some great presenters coming out. We have some young ones. It's almost like, Anthony, I feel like now that we're officially out of COVID and all the summits are back, it's like it's the changing of the guards, so to speak. There's a lot of young, new, energetic speakers that are out there that are coming through that they're going to excite a lot of people, as well as we have a continuation of some of the old guard, some of the people that have been with us for 20 years, 20 plus years of our education, that are still coming back, but coming back as, in a lesser of a role, or maybe only doing 1 or 2 summits.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the Orlando schedule.
Yep.
Lee Burton, Dana Santos, Don Saladino, Robert Yang, Josh Hankin, Brendan Rierick, Pat Rigsby, Terry Taylor, Emily Splickle, Nick Winkleman, Kevin Carr, Guy Massey, Dan John, Martin Rooney, Eric DeGotti, new one, Charlie Weingroff. The list goes on here.
Yeah.
Chris, just give us a little, who's new in Orlando? Let's look at that.
We got Corey Smallwood, Pete Dupuy.
Yep.
Mark Fitzgerald is new with us. Mark's been speaking forever, but Mark is new with us. We got Scott Livingston, it's been like 7-8 years since Scott has spoke for us, and Scott's coming back.
Nice.
Coming back to speak, like you mentioned, Eric DeGotti, he's back. So it's obviously we got a couple people that are coming back that have been away for a while. Jessica Bento, I mean, she started last year with her first one, but she's now doing a couple this year, delivered a great presentation in Chicago last year, really blew me away, has some really good information. Another one, Bobby Smith is back, which last year he did one.
The energy, Bobby brings the energy, man. He's crazy.
Bobby does bring the energy. So the funny thing, Anthony, is with the summits, with the staff we had last year. So the funny thing is the staff that we had, everyone we had on the tour last year was the same exact people that we had scheduled for 2020. Yes. The problem is, as we all know, 2020 never happened, nor did 21. However, I told everyone as we did Zoom meetings and webinars that if they stayed with me when we went back to live, that we would include them in. So they all stayed with me. They all stayed on that list. So last year's one was their first year, even though they've been doing online stuff with us for a couple of years. But last year was their first live event that they did with us. And I was so happy with them last year and for what they did, staying with us through COVID and doing Zoom presentations for us, that I told them all that we were going to bring everyone back from last year. So nice. The tough part is we brought everyone back from last year, and then we also increased 12 presenters. So another one on there, Carlos Santana. Carlos hasn't spoken for us in 11 years, and he's back. He's coming back to Orlando and Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I think it helps when you got super old guys like Boyle who, you really can't make the travel anymore. And
super old.
From a physical.
Thank God he doesn't listen to this podcast.
From a physical perspective, the guy can't make it down to 4 anymore. And so it's a good thing. Yeah. So this will tell us if he's really does listen, because he'll call me up as soon as he hears it and give me shit.
Of course. Yeah. This will be, he'll get on the phone right away, but he'll listen. It may be in 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Chris, one of the things we all love is the social. And like you said, this location, Orlando location is awesome. Right across the street, 1 million restaurants at that convention center. But this year beforehand, you kind of change it up every couple of years, this part of it. And you do have a keynote. I definitely want to talk about the keynote. It's always exciting because you always kind of bring a different twist, whether even like speaking of Boyle, and you and I were together in a bar in New York City when you brought it up to Mike about how many people would love to hear him talk about other things other than the X's and O's. And so you always kind of bring a different twist on this stuff. I remember Al Vermeil,
Osgrove.
Alan, no, but what's Vermeil? Dick Vermeil.
Yeah.
Dick Vermeil. And so many great people even out of the industry. What do we got going on this year?
All right. So this year, we're a little out of the box, and I owe this one to Martin Rooney because I really wasn't sure with what to go with. And even it's trying to find a keynote is you want to deliver the right message. And, it's with the presenters we have, I don't need someone that's going to wow people and get people ramped up because we have a lot of presenters. We have Alan and Martin that are already going to be there to ramp people up. But we also wanted something that was informative. So for the first time, actually, Martin gave me this idea, which happens to be one of his clients who he has trained for years, is an MMA fighter by the name of Jim Miller. Now, Jim is probably one of the most decorated MMA fighters because one, he has the most trips inside the octagon. I believe he's going on 42. And again, I hate to make bad news on this to everyone, but I got word 2 weeks ago that Jim will not be able to be in Orlando. He'll be at the other 3, but the reason he can't, and the reason he told me when he first committed to doing these, was the only thing that would stop him is if he got another call from MMA to go for a fight. So that same weekend, Jim will be fighting for actually not for the tie of it, but he also he's tied for the most wins in the octagon.
Wow.
But he's going for the record in the most wins. So I thought it was pretty neat when Martin told me about him speaking, and Jim's been doing a lot of speaking lately, but I thought it more of that we have. Martin has spoken for us for about 18 years now. And I always thought it would be pretty cool if there was an athlete and a professional elite level athlete of one of the speakers that we have that can talk about what training, what motivation, what things Martin did as a coach inspired him and got him to, again, like I said, 41 trips into the octagon, going for 42 is ridiculous. Like, I don't know, that's like to handle that amount of trips in that many fights is just crazy beyond belief. That you have to be trained right. You have to have your mind right. And so I think he sort of epitomizes what we're looking for in a keynote presentation by what he has done through his career.
Absolutely. I love that take on it, because this idea of having somebody that isn't just an athlete out in the world, in the professional sports world, but is trained by somebody who's been on the tour for so long. And then, so a lot of people are going to be familiar with, Martin's training and Martin's style, and then to kind of put it all together with somebody that he trains and somebody as successful as this, and how do you manage that volume and how he's done it mentally is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. Now I'm looking forward to it. Again, like I said, I'm disappointed that he's not going to be in Orlando, but I'm very excited that he's going to be fighting. And hopefully when he comes to Chicago, he'll have that record, of most wins in the octagon, and will hold that title. And, he's still saying that he's going to go for a couple of years as long as they keep giving him the opportunity. And he's very competitive, and he has been. Every fight, he's very competitive. He's tough. He's well trained. He's well disciplined, and he's just one of those guys that's really fun to watch.
Very cool. Well, you just said Chicago, but they're
Long Beach.
Long Beach. Okay, cool. I was like, wait,
sorry, Long Beach. I skipped it. I forgot we're back with Long Beach.
Yeah, that's the thing. Last year there was no Long Beach. This year, and talk about another great location. I love Long Beach. I'm excited to be speaking there. I just think it's kind of cool, across the street with the bars, the pier right next to it. I've had so much fun there. Just in general, it's a great venue as well, all up on that same floor. I love that part of it too. Yeah. I'm going to take that 2-hour escalator down Providence. But Chris, so yeah, he will be speaking in Long Beach. Excited for that. This year, there's nothing on Thursdays, except you do allow people to register on those days. You guys are going to have the booth there. It starts Friday every time at 9:15. Let's talk a little bit about Long Beach. Another bunch of heavy hitters with Lee Burton, Todd Durkin, Rachel Cosgrove, Alan Cosgrove, Greg Rose, Brandon Marcello, Mark Fisher, Sue Falsone, Rick Mayo, Charlie Weingroff. The list goes on. Again.
Jason
myself,
Glass,
Jason Glass,
Robert Dos Remedios,
Frank Dolan, Coach Dose, Brian Nguyen,
Lee Burton,
Rocky Schneider. I'm looking forward to seeing Rocky. Jenna Gatsis, she's another one. Michelle Dalcourt is always good. So am I missing anybody new on this one?
Very few new ones on this, because it's been a while since we've been back in Long Beach. We sort of tried to bring back a lot of the returning people back there, because it's been, it's been since 2019 since we've been in Long Beach. So
yeah, it's crazy.
It's been a while since a lot of these people heard some of these presenters. Don't forget Todd Wright, Rich Ohm, and Anthony Renner. I mean, you can't forget him. You can't forget him. I mean,
it's pretty much why people are going.
Of course. That's why I'm going. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but that's my reason.
Very cool. And that's going to be June 30th to July 2nd. And then we move on to Chris, by the way, I know there's discounts for the hotels.
Yes.
So a big reason why to get in on this early is because they don't always last, and it's all different. But does every location have a discounted hotel for our attendees?
They do. We have a room block, and the room blocks go very quickly. So we have a set number. There's usually a date, which is about 4 weeks, 3 weeks before the start of it. But sometimes they fill up. If there's a mad rush in it, they fill up quickly. So if anything, if you're even thinking about going, I always suggest to people, just book your room. You can always cancel your room. Just book your room.
Yeah, you're right.
Just so you know you get the early bird price, which usually saves anywhere from $40 to $80 on the price of the hotel.
Nice.
So that's always a key, just to make sure people get in there. But Anthony, I want to go back one more thing. It just,
Sure.
As you said, like Long Beach is loaded, just like Providence. And it's one thing I do to everyone is when I send out, as you know this because you're on the list, is I send to everyone out who's speaking to all the dates of the new summits and I basically let them. I tell them, give me your order of preference of where you want to speak at. And always, I mean, Providence and Long Beach are always number one for people. Like that's why you see a lot of it. Those two, you don't see many younger people because I always go with the veterans first. I make their choices. And again, once I fill up Long Beach, I don't have any more room. So I try to sprinkle some in there here and there, but for the most part, I go with the veterans and with where their first choices. And I want to make sure we get their first choice in to what location they want to go. So the Long Beach and Providence usually are the number one for the presenters of the choices. So, and then followed by Chicago and then Orlando. But I got to tell you, Orlando is a great one for me. And you talked a little bit about the social and having the social right after the keynote. Orlando is the best social because we're in Orlando.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful. And our social is right outside by the pool. So
awesome.
We're off to the side of the pool. We have our own area. We have our musician, Kevin, who plays with us, but who plays for a couple. Usually it's about an hour and a half, but we always keep them going for about 3 hours because we keep extending the bar tab.
First of all, yeah, hour and a half. I mean, I spoke in Orlando the first time that I spoke, and you moved the party inside because it got to be too late, and they were like, no, we gotta at least bring the noise level down a little bit. He did like another hour inside. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fun. The socials are always great. I mean, the great thing about the socials, Anthony, you know this, listeners may not who have not attended it, but the socials are where everyone, I always say it's where everyone gets the key information. It's where the things that are not said in the presentations are said at. It's where people are meeting people, like-minded people, having a good time, talking shop, just having a good time. A lot of friendships are established, at the social. A lot of business relationships are established, the sharing of business, sharing of clients, just all in all. And like I said, they're just as powerful to the presenters that go to the social. They like it just as much as the attendees. So they're there, answering questions. And that's always a big part of my summit is, the one thing I tell presenters is after you speak, if you're around and if people are asking you questions, I always tell the presenters, if someone comes up to you and during the seminar or at the social to ask you a question and you shun them or you give them the nudge or you get anything, that's generally the last time someone's presenting for us because it's really we're open at that. We're sharing of ideas and if the presenters aren't going to be willing to talk to them then and only during the session, then I don't really want them there. Like I want them to be communicating with everyone the entire time they're there.
Yeah, and I will say, I know a lot of people are afraid to ask questions when there's a big group, but the social is a time when I know for myself, people have come up to me, whether it's to talk to me about the podcast or to talk about my lecture or whatever it may be, or, hey, I heard this it just seems like the social, obviously getting a little bit of,
right. I don't know it. I don't know if it's the free beer and wine or if it's actually Kevin's musical talents that just open people up. I think maybe it's more the beer, but I want to give him some credit. He makes people feel comfortable.
There you go. So let's move on to Chicago. And this is, again, going back to your original point about a good combination of heavy hitters of a Dwayne Carlisle, Nicole Rodriguez, Todd Durkin, Charlie Weingroff, Will Fleming, Mark Fisher, Rachel Cosgrove, Ali Gilbert, Mark Sanchez, Bill Parisi, Dan John, Jason Glass, Lance Walker. There's a good combination here of, you got a guy like Brian Grasso coming back.
Yeah. Brian's. Yeah.
Kevin Carr's there. Matthew Ibrahim, who's amazing. He's been on the podcast. He's amazing. But I got to start off with Scott Shute and Janine Stitcher.
Yes.
Two people at once. Chris, this has got to be first.
This is a second.
Oh, okay.
The second. The first one did not go so well. It was years ago, but it was a last minute thing. So I don't take credit. I don't take the blame. I take the blame for it, but it was a last minute thing. And I think it just didn't, the concept didn't go well. And I've always been an anti dual presentation, because the problem with that, Anthony, is you have to be prepared. Because you have to, like, if you're not timed and synced in the presentation, you don't go over it again. People know that. It's the easiest thing to see where people are missing in a presentation. And it always comes across as they're not prepared for it. They're just not rehearsed enough to know when someone goes and the other goes. Janine and Scott are a different thing. Janine and Scott have been presenting together, and they've owned a business together on behavioral science. And it's the perfect fit, because Janine is the doctor. She's the behavioral scientist, and Scott is the gym owner, businessman. And so they combine their talents in together, and they've been doing this and working well together. We held a conference here last fall, and that was sort of my demo for that. I said before I was going to put two people up, I want to see how they handle it, and they were phenomenal. So yes, it's the first one. But I know it works because I know these two, and this is what they talk on, and I've seen them in action.
What was the first two, Alan and Rachel, and they ended up getting to a fight? Or
no.
I know it wasn't Lee and Gray, because we know they're
people, because one of them's still on tour. But it wasn't his fault to do it with somebody else. He was tied in the last minute.
We know it wasn't Lee and Gray. They're always in sync, especially because Gray does most of the talking. So
the funny thing is, Gray and Lee did a pre-con together. But that was a little different because it wasn't like alternating. It wasn't like they were going back and forth. It was like one took the first 2 hours, and then Gray just went and sat down after he was done, and just, actually, I don't even think he sat in the room. I think he just left the room after.
Yeah, he probably did. You know what I really like, interesting about Chicago, when we look at this and we look at some of the topics, okay. Something like Mark Fisher, time management for fitness professionals. We have Marco Sanchez, sustainable methods for longevity, a little bit different from the average lecture that we've had. There's Alan, get more clients, the fastest way to grow your business. Scott and Janine are doing unlocking the potential of behavioral science. Yeah. There's Travis Barnes doing retention, revenue, and raving fans. Yeah. 3 ways to scale. And Hank Eberling, crushing the competition with service to deliver high class service. And Kevin Carr, get moving, how to get clients started and make them stay. So there's a lot of kind of self-development here in Chicago.
Yeah. And you got Brian Grasso doing mindset, okay. Which is now the direction that he's in right now. So, and Brian's a great presenter. So you have some different ones. Even, Lance Walker's physical literacy is another.
He's so underrated. Lance is so underrated. I mean, he should be. I had him on the podcast, and I thought some of his ideas were just really not just out. He really thought out of the box. So I think he's another one that you really want to make sure you go and see.
Here's one too that you hardly ever. I mean, Mike Mullen's doing program design for rehab training clients. Like that's everyone talks, program design, but no one talks about it in a rehab sense. Like that.
Yeah, I've never heard that. Yeah. Mike's so smart too. Love him.
He is.
Chris, let's move on to the big daddy, Providence, where it all really kind of everything centers around. That's why everybody wants to be in Providence. They love, it's kind of like there's something about Providence that just makes it special. Besides, it might be the fact that, you live there, but lots of great, the old, Brandon Marcello, Greg Rose, Nick Winkleman, Todd Durkin, Frank Nash, Coach Boyle can come because he can just take a drive down and probably get a driver. I'm not sure, if he drives anymore either. Once you get to a certain age, they take your license away. So, so then we got like Peter Twist coming back there. By the way, Peter Twist, just about 20 years ago, first presenter I ever saw. He did something with Gray Cook. Those were the first two. I saw them together. Pretty cool. Boosh Exnighter, amazing.
Yeah.
Alan is going to be everywhere. He's at every location. But Pat Van Galen, Ian Jeffries, Frank Velasquez, Molly Galbraith, Mary Kay Fate. Just a really good, interesting lineup here in Providence.
Yeah, and I tell you, that Sunday lineup is. I tell you what, Sunday lineup is in Providence is a really, really good one, and from Ian Jeffries and I think a lot of Hidden Secret, Adam Fight and Mary Kate Fight, two amazing presenters, like
going against each other.
No, well, they are going against each other, but a hands-on to a lecture. So the lectures are a little bit apart, but they're husband and wife going apart. But it's funny, Anthony. We do have. I believe we have now 3 husband and wife combos on the tour now.
Mary Kay,
Mary Kate, and Adam Fight.
No, you have 4. Josh
and Jess
Cosgroves,
and the Cosgroves.
Come on, whose wedding were we at together?
Oh, geez, Allie. Allie. Oh my God, Allie, and you're right. No, we have 4.
Yeah. Wow.
4. Amazing and great quality presenters. Like it's amazing that we have it. And some people ask me, do you do that just to save hotel rooms? And no, I do not do that.
There you go. Charlie and Allie are always in different places, so you're not
Exactly.
you're not even saving on if they come up and drive and the gas money. Chris, I want to review. Let's just talk really quick. But I want to go over something else. But I want to get all the functional training info out. So let's just go back to Orlando. It's June 2nd to 4th. You're extending the early bird till May 12th?
May 12th. Correct.
Okay, cool. And just a reminder to everybody, the early bird is a big deal. You're saving $100 off of paying at the door. So if you can get there, you got to do it. And if you have any problems, email me or call them at Perform Better if you couldn't figure that one out.
We also have group rates and discounts, and our groups start at 3 or more too. So we have group rates and group discounts, and we also have student rates.
Okay, excellent. Good to
Yep.
All right, a reminder too, NSCA 1.8, NASM 1.4 to 1.8, ACE is going to be to be determined, and the CSCCa is 8 continuing education credits for that. There are discounted hotel rates. Those you really got to try to get ahead of time. Jim Miller is the keynote speaker, legendary MMA fighter. He's going to talk all about the athlete's side of this whole training spectrum. So, Chris, wrap it up with something here. And I have another question for you that has to do with general stuff after this. So go ahead.
Sure. Wrapping it up. You know what? We never turn anyone away. Anyone's in hardship, call us. Our goal is we want you to get there. We want you to be part of our summit. So, if times are tough for you, if you got a group or discounts, or if you can only afford a certain amount, we've even made exceptions for people who can only come for a day or two or a day and a half. So we made special rates for people. So, just let us know, call us, call my team. We'll be glad to fit something that works for you. That's our goal is we want to make it there. We want to see you there. We want to meet you. We want you to have a great weekend with us. That's the big thing is, as everyone says with these things, that's our number one goal is to make them fun, educational and information and a lot of information.
Awesome. Love it. All right. Well, we got all the information out, and I want to just, Chris, move into just a little bit of a direction, because I think you've been doing this for so long with the educational piece and putting on so many different kinds of events. So for example, if people, just as a reminder, there is the Perform Better Functional Training Institute, which if you listen to the podcast, Vince Gabriel has the Business Secrets for Gym Owners, May 5th and 6th. We're not going to get this out in time, but we did a whole episode with Vince. And then you have the Selective Functional Movement Assessment, 1 and 2, coming on May 19th to the 22nd. So you've been doing this for so long, Chris, and we both know I've had to cancel. I tried to put on a couple with my friend TJ Lopez, one with Sean Skane. We were talking about this earlier. We just saw Scott Livingston was doing the hockey summit that he was going to have. It's been hard to get some people in there. I had to cancel. Can you just speak to right now the importance of why? Like, some people think Zoom is great. Don't get me wrong. We're on Zoom right now, but where do you think this is going? Do you think we're going to come back to the numbers that we had in 2018 or 19? And why? Just a reminder about why it's so important to do this live.
Yeah, no, Anthony, I really do. I believe that it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to get seminars back to where they were, the live events, because there's been so many Zoom things, but there's so much information online. Even us, we put all of our past seminars on our Perform Better app, which is a free download. So there's a lot of education and information out there. The one thing you don't get from a video or a live event is you don't get that hands-on feeling that we have there. You don't get that sharing of ideas from the person sitting next to you and telling you how they're using that idea that the presenter just talked about. There's not that relationship building. There's not that community that we build, with the presenters and, the presenters and the attendees, that, they can feel that they can email the presenters anytime and ask them questions. And it's like this, as we think of it, it's this one big family where we're all sharing ideas. And I don't mean just presenters and Perform Better. I mean presenters, Perform Better, and all the attendees. It's a powerful event. And I think, that's one of the things that we've heard during Zoom that was, the Zooms are great, but it's not like a live event. It's not, they're not getting the full benefit of it. And I think it's the power of the people that are around them. I think we're in a learning environment. We're all there for the same reason. The only thing difference is somebody may be a physical therapist sitting next to you, and someone may be a strength coach, and someone may be a personal trainer. But we're all working with clients, patients, or athletes. We're all doing pretty much a lot of the same type of working with the same type of equipment, doing the same type of training, just at a different level. So I think the sharing of the ideas is really what gets missed from a Zoom or a watching a video of something. And I think that's where the power is. I think that's where the power comes into our event. So will they be back? Yes, I think they will. I think it's going to take a few years for people to get comfortable, to get back and to go out. And also the economy. It's not, we're not in a great economy either. But the one thing that we always try to do at the events, and I know there's a lot of gym owners that are looking for trainers, and the idea is we welcome the idea of, like, if people come to our summit and meet someone to get a job, and we even allow people to post stuff at our front table or bring banners to put if they're looking for trainers, because that's what we really want to do. We want to not only share ideas, but share relationships that if someone's looking for a trainer and someone's there, there's a chance that that person paid some money, got out of their seat, went to a seminar, that they're going to be a pretty decent trainer. They're putting some money into themselves. That somebody wants. So even if it's just people getting jobs or getting hired or looking for work, different work or something, that's all part of the whole thing. And we encourage that. So there's a lot more benefits of just the education, but there's a lot of other things that we share from a live event that you just don't get elsewhere.
Absolutely. I will say my two best tips for the summit are, and somebody did this to me once, they actually emailed me, is the answer to every unasked question is no. It doesn't hurt to ask. Find a couple presenters that you might want to buy breakfast, buy a coffee, buy lunch, anything, and say, listen, somebody did that for me. They said, hey, listen, I love the podcast. I want to talk to you about some stuff. Can I buy you breakfast? You know, and I said, absolutely. And we had a great breakfast and he came to my presentation. It was awesome. And I've heard this. So many people have done that to Mike.
Yeah.
And if they have the time, they're going to do it. That's number one. But like you said, you're sitting next to so many different people, strength coach, physical therapists, trainers, that athletic trainers as well, that you never know who you're sitting to. Try to introduce yourself. If you're going to into the hall and you're sitting down in a chair and somebody's next to you, talk to them. Talk to somebody, introduce yourself. You don't know who you're sitting next to, and you don't know what opportunities it can lead to. And there's a lot of things like that you can get even more out of. And now you know the guy. Now you might see that guy or girl at the social and be like, hey, what's up? What's happening? Now you know a couple more people. Now you're talking. Now you're getting that's where the magic happens, is in the hallways and in the social, in the bars, in the breakfast, in the cafes. That's where it happens.
Yeah, exactly. It really is. They're very, very powerful that way. And like I said, there's more learned at the conferences other than what's going on during the sessions. Don't get me wrong. The sessions are amazing. And we always go after some of the best possible presenters that we can bring in. You know, we're not afraid to bring them in from overseas or anywhere. We want great presentations, but we also want great quality people. You know, we want people that people can come up to them and talk and say, hey, can I buy you breakfast? Like you said, you know, we want people that say yes, not no. I'm not going to share any ideas with you. That's what we don't want. So, and the attendee and the presenters know that, you know, and I think it becomes a win-win for everyone, because, you know, I think when everyone shares ideas, everybody benefits from it. And like I said, they're a fun time. We look, you know, there's so much work that goes into them, Anthony, as you know already, but the benefits of them that comes out of it is just great for us, where we can bring 1,000 people into Providence and everyone has a smile. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's learning things. You know, they're learning other things from people. They're learning stuff at the social from talking to Mike, or, you know, and all I had to do was go to the bar and grab them a beer and he'll talk to them all night.
And they're free there.
And they're free.
Yeah. And you and I had talked about earlier, and this is another reason why, like, the industry has gotten a lot smaller. We lost some gyms during COVID. It kind of cleaned up some of the you know, the low hanging fruit who probably shouldn't have owned a gym, but we lost a lot of trainers, and a lot of gyms are looking for trainers. So this is the best opportunity to go and see, again, like you talked about earlier, if people are at this, if they're spending a couple $100 to go there, a couple $100 on a hotel, they're taking time out to go to these things, they're probably, they're very trainable. If they're not that good, they're going to be. They're very trainable. They have a growth mindset. So just another great opportunity to stay in touch with a lot of great people in the industry. So Chris, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. Looking forward, as always. Summits are my favorite time of year. Just having a couple days with people to hang out is always amazing. And you guys always put on a good show. So we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Ann. Can't wait till the summer, and hopefully we see everyone out there.